Hello everyone, it's Vivi and welcome to some more Rift Apart. No, we don't have new footage. As much as we all crave new Rift Apart gameplay, I feel, why not talk about other things in the meantime? Of course, related to Rift Apart. Nefarious is in. He's looking as maniacal and crazy as always. That's what we love about him. But one thing we shouldn't forget, apart from the main bad guy, not saying that Nefarious is the main bad guy, as much as it seems to be the case right now, I mean really. There's probably some sort of twist in this game when it comes to the main bad guy. I guess what I'm trying to say by main bad guy, I mean this game might have some sort of twist where another bad guy decides to show up. Yes, the game revolves around Dr. Nefarious. As a matter of fact, if we visit the main web page for this game, it does say Evil Robotic Emperor. So in the end, someone else might take the spotlight. That's what I'm trying to say. But, as I was saying, there's side villains, which we could potentially see in Rift Apart. I'm not going to name all side villains from the series, just to name a few off the top of my head. For example, Quark in the original game, Thugs for Less leader in Going Commando, Courtney Gears in Up Your Arsenal, Deadlocked, especially the whole thing with the exterminators. Yeah, the nature of Deadlocked is dealing with a bunch of bad guys in the arena, but you get the idea. We have Captain Slag, the leader of Space Pirates and Tools of Destruction, Lord Vorsalon from A Crack in Time, working for Nefarious. So having other villains, apart from the main one, currently Dr. Nefarious, I mean, it's Ratchet Clank. It's to be expected. With that, I thought, why not at least try and think of certain side villains we could see, especially looking at locations we have in the extended demo. Now, we have to realize that we shouldn't expect too many side villains, especially if we're thinking about boss battles. Since we're dealing with alternate dimensions, perhaps a villain we knew in our universe might turn out to be someone who works on the good side. After all, Marcus Smith, creative director of Rift Apart, did say we should expect lots of returning characters and see them through a whole new light. Some former side villains, they could have cameos in short. First character I'd like to mention, the Thugs for Less leader, who I assume would be hired by Dr. Nefarious. Of course, there's some little details that we cannot ignore. There are two things for that matter. These guys in the extended demo aren't called the Thugs for Less. Instead, they go by the name Goon for Less. I've also realized they scrapped the plural form. It's not goons, it's simply goon. Like I mentioned in my in-depth analysis a while back, this could signify a couple of things. Number 1, a ranking system in their group. 2, a complete name change. Perhaps due to their failed reputation. Every time the thugs were hired, Ratchet and Clank would foil their plans. The more they lost, the more they ruined their chances for potential hires. Despite that, looking at the demo, Nefarious didn't care. Heck, these guys could have been last resort for Nefarious, for whatever reason. Number 3, we're simply dealing with an alternate version of Thugs for Less. Going by Marcus Smith's statement, it's very possible these alternate thugs were hired by none other than Dr. Nefarious. Okay, hold up, Vivi. You keep saying they're hired by Nefarious. What brings you to such conclusion? Simple. In this segment of the demo, we clearly hear one of the goons say don't let them get to the boss. Their boss being Nefarious, who I guess crash-landed here, going back to this cutscene. Fun fact, in the pre-alpha from June, Nefarious wasn't seen inside the robot. They simply weren't ready to reveal Nefarious. Now look, the thugs did appear in Into the Nexus, a game from 2013. They were hired by Nefton Prague. They were hired still, but there was no sign of their leader in that game apart from the person who hired them, Nefton. I'm at least hoping they consider the goons leader in Rift Apart. It's a full-length game after all, this was confirmed a while ago.
Brand new, full-length, interdimensional adventure built from the ground up for the PlayStation 5.
So I could assume them adding their leader somewhere in this game, if anything, as I stated before, could make a cameo. But who am I fooling? I would really love to see a boss battle with the goons as leader. We haven't seen their leader since Going Commando.
Thugs for Less. If it ain't broke, we'll break it.
It'd be very interesting to see what their leader is now like, especially considering how the thugs, or goons in this case, have so much more personality given to them. I really want to see a fight between Ratchet and Clank and their leader. I want to know what it looked like this time. Now the question is, where is their leader? Yes, there's the head of the operation being Nefarious in this case. But where is their leader? Where is that one individual who leads the team to know where to actually go? I don't think these guys would operate without their leader. Despite what we saw in Into the Nexus, they were hired by Neftin, but surely their leader was also involved behind the scenes. If we do encounter the goon's leader, I take it won't be on Megalopolis. After all, judging from Ratchet's remark when they fall in this place, he says we're back, kinda implying that they've been here before on foot. You might say, what if they dealt with their leader before they came back to the same location? Well, if that were the case, would the goons still be working for Nefarious in this part? Unless they decided to betray their leader. In the end, goons might not even have a leader at this point. Simply a boss. Someone who's at top, such as Nefarious. Insomniac Games probably prefers going that route. Next side villain that could potentially appear. Looking at Ardolis, a planet which originates from Tools of Destruction. Who am I thinking about? None other than Captain Slag. Or someone we least expect, Captain Darkwater. Insomniac Games could really use the whole dimensionality theme of this game to explore Captain Darkwater, who in our universe was completely despised by Captain Slag, to an extent where Darkwater was destroyed, killed off, on planet Murdergraw. Of course by the sword of Captain Slag. Darkwater was originally the captain of the Space Pirates, and his backstory leaves so much more to desire. Our universe Angstrom Darkwater was someone who encountered the Zoni, their leader especially, Orvis most likely. The Zoni were creatures of energy who made their debut in Tools of Destruction. Clank turned out to be the son of Orvis, Clank having Zoni DNA in him. As I was saying, Darkwater befriended the Zoni and was given a Fulcrum Star if ever he wanted to communicate with the Zoni. He even built a device called the Obsidian Eye on Hulafar Island. This was explained in a rather short entry of the series, Quest for Booty, a game released exclusively digitally in North America. As for Europe, you could find physical copies. So about the relationship of Romulus Slag and Angstrom Darkwater? Darkwater always felt that one day Slag would betray him and try to steal the Fulcrum Star away. Knowing this, if he died, he did die by the hands of Slag, he made sure even after his death that whoever were to approach his loot to, try and steal it, they'd be cursed, as in him and his crew coming back from the dead. After Ratchet and Clank defeated Captain Slag in Tools, Rusty Pete, former sidekick of Slag, made sure that Slag's head would be attached to Darkwater's broken and abandoned body. Slag Darkwater was born. Darkwater with Slag's personality pretty much. Now that we're dealing with alternate realities, if either Captain Slag is introduced in a new light, does he still hate Captain Darkwater? Or are they maybe working together? I'd personally love to have an encounter with the actual Captain Angstrom Darkwater. After all, paying close attention to this area, it appears we might be able to explore this place on foot. I do notice a platform on the left. Let's not forget Tauren 4 with the swing shot hooks, or the old build of this location with crates lying around. We never knew much of this character, apart from the merge that happened in Quest for Booty, him and Slag. They can take the opportunity with Rift Apart and reintroduce at least Darkwater. Another little detail, the fact one of the pirates identifies a Lombax just goes to show of their status in this universe, if it is alternate. Look, if this is an alternate Ardolis, easy, we can say that Captain Slag or Darkwater are still alive and leading their group. If this was in our universe, you probably wonder, okay, who's leading the space pirates right now? That's an interesting question. Alright, I seem to have matched potential side villains with the planet itself. Is this what we should expect? Oh hey look, Planet X, therefore side villain Y? Well, perhaps. I mean, I'd be exaggerating if I matched every planet we have so far with potential side villains. I'm simply coming up with a few who've left memorable marks on the series. The Thug's leader, captain of the Space Pirates. I mean, it's the Space Pirates we're talking about. Now, I'm gonna say something. I just remembered. Megalopolis has banners all around, which seem to look like Drophids, an army raised by Percival Tachyon in Tools of Destruction. He was the main antagonist of that game. Where is he now? Stranded on an asteroid, Dimension A266, with Artemis Zog. Artemis Zog, by the way, is someone who turned out to be a villain in the comic series. It is said in the series that Tachyon, at a young age, created the Space Pirates. Should we expect, or in other words, would that idea of him creating Space Pirates be one way of reintroducing Tachyon in some shape or form? Going back to the latest Games Radar interview, it's implied that Rift Apart is not the only Ratchet & Clank game planned for the PlayStation 5. If Tachyon were ever to return, now that dimensions are breaking, I'd expect him to be teased at the end of Rift Apart. Would he team up with Artemis Zog? Heck, I'd love to see that happen one day. I wonder what kind of dynamic and relationship these two built stuck on that asteroid. Of course, I'd expect these two to eventually betray one another when given the opportunity. Tachyon coming back as a side villain, however, it'd be a waste if that was his only role. If, let's say, Tachyon gets rid of Nefarious and he turns out to be the villain behind the scenes, that'd be a little bit more interesting. I don't imagine Tachyon and Nefarious working together unless Nefarious plans to betray him and turn him into a robot, because we all know that Nefarious hates organic life forms. After all, the description for this game implies that Nefarious wants to get rid of organic life forms. How? By probably turning them into robots. Something our Nefarious in our universe wasn't able to achieve in a pure arsenal due to, of course, Ratchet and Clank. With alternate Nefarious in the picture, I could picture Courtney Gears at least having a brief cameo somewhere. That boss fight in Up Your Arsenal is something I'll never forget. I don't know if another battle with an alternate Courtney Gears would do the original justice. Heck, that's assuming Courtney Gears is still a singer in this alternate reality, as well as still working with Nefarious. At least hearing a new single from alternate Courtney Gears would be such a huge wave of nostalgia. But then I'm also worried that once we see Courtney Gears, we set our expectations too high. Oh look, it's Courtney Gears, is she gonna sing, is she gonna be a boss? I mean, if we do get a boss battle, it will be the biggest surprise Insomniac Games could give us. But like I said before, will it do justice to the old one? Another contender in mind. Lord Vorsalan first appeared in A Crack in Time. This will be a good time to really explore the validity of this character, assuming we'd see an alternate version of him, of course. What I mean by validity, apparently he used to work for Ratchet's father, Caden, as an accountant. This is our Lord Vorsalan, the one who worked for Dr. Nefarious in A Crack in Time. Yeah, during a transmission to Ratchet in A Crack in Time, Vorsalan claims that he once worked as Caden's accountant. Was he lying? Was he telling the truth? We don't know. The only thing we have is our judgment. He was a bad guy. Naturally, we'd be inclined to believe that he was lying simply to toy with Ratchet's emotions. But IG, short for Insomniac, could play around with that idea. Introduce us to an alternate version of him, someone say who plays the role of this Lombax girl's accountant. What this would tell us, a character such as Vorsalan, alternate or not, is potentially someone who easily gets persuaded by whoever hires him. Whether bad or good, he's just in it for the bolts. Fun fact, Vorsalan in A Crack in Time was also a secret/hidden boss, as in you could still face him one last time. This battle was unlocked once you beat the story of the game and finding all 40 zoning. During one of his battles in A Crack in Time, you can hear him say, "Dropid squishies." Squishies implying he hates organic life forms and is getting used to his robotic body. Come to think of it, Vorsalan reminds us of the Drophids, doesn't he? You know, a fish-looking creature inside a globe. Perhaps Dropid banners we see in Megalopolis could indicate that in an alternate reality, Vorsalan has his own army of Drophids instead of Tachyon. I could go on and on about side villains. So basically, if an alternate side villain appears, we could either expect a simple cutscene or cameo, or boss battle. You know, a more prominent role. A little extra bonus for the video. If arenas return, say in an alternate dimension, like imagine a story mission tied to winning a certain gadget in an arena match. Imagine seeing Gleeman Vox as a spokesperson. He's not a bad guy per se in this dimension, just a spokesperson. Something like Dallas and Juanita from Deadlocked. Simply, what we could see is a personality which is different from what we're used to seeing in Deadlocked. Or he could just be a news person for whatever news channel. Something that will surprise us. I want Rift Apart to have that surprise factor. If we are to see returning characters in a different light, I do hope they surprise us in a good way. So yeah, with that said folks, this is it for the video. So as usual, feel free to share your own thoughts in the comments section below. Which side villain would you like to see in Rift Apart? Leave it all in the comments, and as always, I've been Vivi, and thank you so much for watching.